War is the crucible where Bushido is either proven or exposed as theater. A samurai does not meet conflict for applause, but to allow the blade to reveal whether his discipline was real when the world began to burn. When the hour turns fatal, the monster rises from his chains, so destiny and fate may finish their old, cold argument in the furnace where illusions are stripped bare and reduced to ash. In what is projected to be Japanese boxing's greatest domestic fight in history, ranks current number 2 pound-for-pound boxer Naoya, the monster Inoue, is set for a showdown with rings number 6 pound-for-pound Junto, Big Bang Nakatani. Years in the making, the matchup has finally found a stage at Super Bantamweight. In this great Japanese showdown, the style matchup couldn't be more fascinating. Inoue's archetype is that of a pressure boxer puncher. He is an executioner who shuts down entire operating systems. His strength is not rooted only in punching power, but in a way he fuses boxing, punch placement, and balance into a single violent system. He understands that control of the ring is control of the fight. Once he secures that control, his opponents are trapped to operate inside an ever-tightening kill zone. His rhythm is one of his greatest weapons. Inoue can fight at a calm, measured pace, then suddenly shift into another gear without losing structural integrity. That change creates panic because the opponent never fully settles into the tempo. Even when the fight appears quiet, he is gathering information, tightening his reads, and preparing to break the sequence open. What makes him special is his ability to turn pressure into impending doom. Many pressure fighters simply press forward. Inoue instead advances with purpose. He cuts down the opponent's options, corners their reactions, and keeps his own balance intact while forcing the other main into narrower and narrower choices, especially through his counterpunching. That is why pressure feels so heavy, particularly behind the hammering jab and the wrecking ball that follows. It is both positional and oppressive. He also brings commanding ring intelligence. He could take what he learns in the early exchanges and carry it into the middle and late rounds without needing a full reset. That makes him a complete fighter, because his offense is connected to his reading of the opponent rather than to any single phase of the fight. He does not just punch well, he processes the fight well. Inoue's style is built on a rare mix of strategy and discipline. He is patient enough to wait for structures to collapse, but ruthless enough to punish that collapse immediately. That is what separates him from an ordinary boxing puncher. He is controlled demolition, calculated, disciplined, and lethal once the rhythm breaks in his favor. Nakatani is a ranged boxer puncher. He is a technician focused on controlling the terms of engagement from the outside with spatial intelligence. Nakatani understands that distance is not passive, but instead active. He uses his frame and length to shape where the fight happens and how fast it develops. That gives him a very mature style, because he is not just reacting to the action, he is often dictating the geometry of the exchange and making the other fighter work inside of his structure. Nakatani's rhythm is calm, elastic, and deliberate. He can stay patient without becoming static, which is a major advantage. That patience allows him to collect intel, stay composed in tense exchanges, and avoid being dragged into the opponent's chaos. Then when the cracks appear, he shifts from management to punishment. He is especially strong at building pressure without being rushed. That is a sophisticated skill. Some fighters look dangerous only when they are visibly attacking. But Nakatani can create a sense of inevitability through spacing, positioning, and timing. When the space closes, the opponent begins to feel boxed in before the action becomes frantic. Another important aspect of his style is his efficiency under pressure. He does not need to be frantic to be effective. he can remain calm, structured, and composed while steadily increasing the level of threat. That makes him dangerous in both slow and fast fights, because he is not dependent on either type of tempo or function. Nakatani is best described as a tactical predator in a long frame. He is a fighter who blends patience with violence, distance control with finishing ability, and composure with sharp escalation. His style is about owning battles piece by piece until the opponent has nowhere left to stand. On a battlefield where a chessboard has sharp teeth, a strategic flaw can open a door to 4 greater wounds. Inoue, though a complete boxer and a hunter in the ring, is deeply favored by God with his physical gifts to pressure, punish, and finish. Yet every masterpiece has a seam, and his most obvious has been the recklessness that can surface when he chases the finish too quickly. As of recent, Inoue has looked more mature in his pressure, working with greater discipline behind the jab and setting up his power without forcing a finish against the bigger men in the division. His brilliance can make people forget that he still needs to enter range to do most of his devastating work. That is what disciplined feet, varied timing, and stubborn refusal to be rushed can briefly disrupt his rhythm. He is at his sharpest when he is interpreting and then dismantling. But if an opponent can deny him clean entries, make him reset often, or force him to work in a cluttered pocket instead of a controlled striking lane, the fight can become less of a procession and more of a negotiation. That does not erase the danger. It simply exposes the narrow openings that exist before his pressure fully seals them shut.
It really is. It's tight. Right hand to the... But anytime he sees Inoue going to the high...
Nakatani's weaknesses is different because his foundation is built on geometry, length, and command of space. He is most dangerous when he can stare the distance, control the tempo, punish every attempt to collapse the pocket in front of him. But long-range operators can be tested when the rhythm turns ugly, the pace cranked up, and the opponent refuses to stay at the end of the script. His gift and his curse is his power. He sits heavy on his punches and follows through more than he should. When he misses or falls short, he could be left out of position. If an opponent forces repeated misfires under pressure, crowds his leverage, or drags him into sustained inside exchanges where his spacing advantage shrinks, the fight becomes far less orderly. His wide stance, which helps him fight long, can also be exposed against a fast-footed fighter, especially one as explosive as Inoue. If Inoue could draw him onto feints and beat him to the better position, he can expose those openings. Nakatani's weaknesses is not a lack of talent, it is the danger in the outpuncher faces where the ring stops behaving like a chessboard and starts behaving like a brawl. In the Samurai Showdown, where the two blades meet, the fight is built on brutal questions with blood on the teeth. One man brings compact destruction, the other range and structure to turn the ring into a narrowing death trap. At the center of it all is one savage test, whose style survives when the steels finally bite. Can Nakatani hold the distance when Inoue starts compressing the ring? Nakatani's long frame geometry works best when he could keep the fight orderly. If Inoue breaks that order and gets into the pocket, the entire map changes. Can Inoue hold the pocket without paying a heavy price against a short, long-range controller? Entering the pocket is as vital as the landing. Inoue has to cross no man's lane without giving Nakatani easy intercepts. What happens when Nakatani is forced into an ugly, high-tempo exchange? His advantage comes from structure and spacing. If the fight becomes chaotic, his clean lines can get stripped away. Yet Inoue make Nakatani miss and punish the follow-through. Nakatani's offense can leave him stretched if he can miss too hard. That creates the opening for a fast, explosive counterpuncher to beat him to the next position. Does Nakatani's power hold up as the pressure rises? A fighter who controls range can look dominant when the rhythm is calm. The question is whether the power still matters once the exchanges get crowded and violent. Who wins the battle of rhythm? Inoue thrives by changing gears without losing structural integrity. Nakatani thrives by setting the terms of the fight. Whoever controls tempo likely controls the outcome. One man gets the ring stretched and organized. The other wants it crowded, broken, and reduced to a savage kill zone where every second decision gets punished. The deepest question is whether Nakatani can preserve the architecture that makes him dangerous, or whether Inoue can smash that structure before it becomes a weapon. If the distance holds, Nakatani's foundation remains intact. If the distance collapses, Inoue turns the fight into a controlled demolition. While Nakatani's reach and geometry may bomb space early, Inoue's footwork and explosiveness should steadily erase the distance until the structure begins to crack. Once that layer is broken, the monster's claws are far too sharp to defend. Naoya Inoue by unanimous decision.